Hello, friends. Just a quick update. This is Joy Selden, who has watched everything. And on behalf of Danielle and myself, we just wanted to say a quick thank you to everybody who's been listening to the podcast. We've put out more than 50 episodes at this point. Well, this will be 51. So thank you very much to everyone who's been listening, to the almost 2,000 unique downloads we've had in the past year. It's been incredible. You may have noticed that we skipped a week. Danielle is actually out on vacation, so when she comes back, we'll be sure to finish up Fringe, and then, I don't know, we'll see what season 3 takes us, and of course continue to watch some movies. Check out this next episode, and we will see you again in mid-March. Hello, friends, and welcome to Binge O'Clock, the podcast where we watch something and then we talk about it. I'm Joy Selden, and I've seen almost everything.
I'm Danielle, and I've seen almost nothing.
I'm Nella, and I think I might be allergic to Chinese yams, which is weird because I somehow feel more betrayed by this than when I found out I was allergic to mangoes. I've never had a Chinese yam before, and my face is on fire, and I'm waiting for the Zyrtec to happen, and I'm just you're so pleasant. Why would you do this to me?
But you're a tuber, and you're subtle. But what is happening?
Why?
And you are part of a climbing vine. Isn't that beautiful? Why must you hurt me so?
Its leaves were delightful. I'm infuriated, actually. But now I'm also going to be very sus the next time you just hand me a vegetable that you get from the church, Joy. Here, they gave me a bag of vegetables, and I'm going to be you try them first.
Maybe that might be the rule. Anyway, hello, friends.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about Fringe Season 4, episodes 14 through 16. So much happens in these episodes. We're just going to kind of tackle them one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully Nella can hang in there until the Zyrtec kicks in.
It's anyone's game. This is truly the most Fringe of all episodes.
The ticking clock.
I feel
we've got some suspense. We've got some conflict.
I've been Waltered, honestly. I'm sitting here like Lee being I don't know, am I going to turn into an angry porcupine man or am I fine? What is it?
Or like Olivia. Are two different versions of me suddenly being mushed together into one body? I don't know.
It's anyone's game. You know what it is? It's when Walter drank the chimp DNA.
Oh, yeah.
And then, showed aggression.
Yes, agreed.
And by showed aggression, I mean he basically yawned in a threatening manner right near Astrid, and Astrid was like, excuse you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we start with episode 14.
The end of all things.
And this sort of kind of picks up where we left off. Olivia's been kidnapped. She's in a sub-basement with Nina, and there's a little bit of a back and forth of trying to understand well, then I guess it was her doppelganger that was talking to me, and you didn't come over to my apartment and make soup and all these things. And David Robert Jones pulls out our old favorite, lights in a box, to try and get her to light them up, and has Nina hooked up to what appears to be an electrocution wall, I guess. Weird torture device thing.
Yeah, it's like they rigged up what you would use to jumpstart a car to the metal springs at the bottom of a mattress.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's jerry-rigged and weird. I don't like it.
And Olivia 100% buys into the fact that this Nina is her Nina, and I don't know, I actually did think that was kind of strange. I would have expected that our Olivia would be a little bit more suspicious of the Nina sitting across from her, especially since it's revealed in that episode that David Robert Jones's whole plan isn't going to work because Olivia needs a mix of love and terror to trigger her cortexiphan, right? But since she's now Peter's Olivia, she doesn't feel that emotional connection to Nina anymore. Those memories are gone. So the love bit is missing.
Exactly. She doesn't see Nina as that mother figure anymore.
Why do you trust her?
This is a good question. I think ultimately Olivia and Nina had still the kind of respect
And there is, Olivia even says it in this episode. Like, I don't want to see you get hurt, but I'm just not, like, I'm not connected to you in the way that you think I am.
Right. I guess, but Nina is just like the most sus character in this show. She is. Like,
I know.
Yes. So, like, I definitely had some feelings before it's revealed, spoilers, that the Nina that is with Liv is actually the shapeshifter. Because when we first...
is the AU Nina, is the alternate universe Nina.
No. The one that's being tortured is a shapeshifter.
No, she's not a shapeshifter.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah, she's a doppelganger. She's from the other reality.
You see, because, like, wow, so that's not how I read that at all. Because I was also just like, I mean, if they're now humans running around, like, do they actually have to kill anybody to take over their lives? Like,
right. And they do.
No. That's a
they're
great question. But yeah, they still operate under the assumption that if it's a shapeshifter, the person they have stolen their form of is definitely dead. And we know that not to be true. But wouldn't that be wild?
So the Nina in the basement is the doppelganger. And the Nina who's being questioned by Lincoln, Peter, and Broyles is the one who actually raised Olivia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am sitting here going, maybe a shapeshifter killed Nina in the alternate reality, and maybe it is a shapeshifter. Like, maybe we don't know. That could be true.
That's fair. Yeah. That's very fair.
There was just, because, like, I just kept coming back to shapeshifter because we were watching it and they have Nina, and then my thought went, so is it some sort of, like, weird shapeshifter that's covering? But then I realized if they could figure out how to shapeshift without killing the person, then you have the perfect setup. You have the shapeshifter building the rapport in this torturous situation. Maybe you even, like, allow them to escape. They escape. Maybe Liv is imprinted on the not Nina.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can replace real Nina with shifter Nina. And, like, I don't know. It just felt very, like, as I was watching it, I was like, that's not Nina. That's not Nina. Although, honestly, when we get to the scene where actual Nina is being interrogated by Broyles, can I just say, when she said, do you honestly think that I had anything to do with her disappearance? I was like, Nina, Bubala, even if you weren't being played by, like, a doppelganger shapeshifter, whatever the hell is going on here, yes, I would believe you. You're so shady. Your bangs are full of secrets. You have been covering up for other people's bad life choices since day one. Like, of course I don't trust you. I'm sorry. I love you. I do not trust you at all.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Literally every time you ask Nina a question, the first answer she gives you is a lie.
Yes, every time.
Oh, have you heard about this invisible boy? No, we didn't hear about an invisible boy. Like, oh, do you have a list of all of the Cortexiphan subjects? No, we don't have a list of the subjects. Oh, do you have a basement full of clones? No, we didn't even know there were clones. Nina.
Clones? I know. She's just constant. It's constant.
That's
and
why
I love her to bits, but I'm just like, of course we don't trust you. Good Lord.
No, but this is also to Danielle's point of, like, if this is Peter's Olivia, then she shouldn't be trusting Nina, no matter who.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, look, we're still dealing with the fact that, like, and this comes up late in the episodes where it's just like, I only remember 40% of my life here, right? She's still in this transfer period where I think the emotional resonance of the life she had with Nina could still be present. So, I mean, I still bought that she was sort of in this in-between of, like, seeing Nina as somebody that emotionally she feels very powerfully drawn to, but not understanding why.
Right, right.
You know, like, this is why we had the soup full of lies, right? Because that was her Nina coming over and, like, what do you mean you've been getting these migraines? Let me make you soup. Was her Nina. Like, AU Nina would have just showed up with a bunch of people and dosed her with Cortexiphan. Like, we never saw that. Like, I'm convinced that we never saw AU Nina in Nina's office. Like, we never saw her actually interact with Olivia while she was conscious.
I feel like that was not Nina.
Yeah, I'm not as clear as you in that.
Yeah.
Like, once I knew that doppelganger, shapeshifter, whatever the it is, Nina was in play, like, you don't know if she was being surveilled and they were just timing it and they didn't actually want to like get rid of her because they still felt that there was some use to her.
But
like maybe,
Nina is so bad at being like her mom figure. She's really bad at it.
She was good at it in the interrogation room, except she slipped up on her lie. When she told the story about the first time Olivia called her Nina instead of Miss Sharp. I don't know. I feel like this soup might have been the doppelganger.
Oh no. Is there a forum? We can check? Should we poll the Fringe audience?
Because her Nina, the Nina who actually raised Olivia, wouldn't have dosed her with cortexiphan.
Exactly.
So the whole time Olivia was being dosed by cortexiphan, this other Nina was in play.
And then, of course, doppelganger Nina has the same biometric, so of course she has access to it.
They've just been, like, flitting in and out of Olivia's life. How terrible. Ugh. Anyway, I don't know.
I mean, maybe I'll have to watch those scenes again. There's something about, like, this kind of covert nonsense is such a very special level of hell that I'm like, I don't think AU Nina would chance hanging around to interact with people or needing to know what massive dynamic does or doesn't do. Like she would have to be briefed on so many things because there isn't even a massive dynamic in the AU. So like to become a CEO and like hang out for the workday feels like a stretch to me. Like, that's a lot. Like, people will come, like Jerry from down the hall from accounting comes to you and is just like, we've got this situation. And it's like, yeah.
I don't know, but like maybe AU Nina is just that swear jar. Maybe she, she's like, maybe like in her alternate universe, she's just like, I could have been a contender. And maybe she figures it out really quickly. Like, I don't know.
I really don't know.
Well, look.
Speaking of her maybe being a contender, I think I'm a little unclear on who's the boss in this situation.
Oh, if it's Nina or David Robert Jones? I feel like it's David Robert Jones.
No, I feel like it's David Robert Jones.
I guess so, but before this episode, I was kind of under the impression it wasn't. Then this episode happened, and I was like, oh, wait, huh?
Oh, no, wait, I found it. The pure nightmare fuel. David Robert Jones was alternate Nina's belly.
There.
I ruined it for everyone.
There are things I know, and I am hiding my face from the camera so they cannot see my reaction.
How dare you?
The darkest timeline.
Yeah, it is the darkest timeline.
The most darkest timeline. But yes, so we'll try not to do too much of a play-by-play, but faux Nina finds out that this thing only ever works when Peter is there. And I'm pretty sure that comes after her slip up, right? Because I'm pretty sure it's just when she finds out that it's Peter, all of a sudden her stomach hurts.
Yeah. So she slips up first. Then Olivia tells her the only person this has ever worked with is Peter, which I kind of love because Olivia's like 2 steps ahead of her at this point. Yep. Because Olivia knows... Like, Olivia's giving that information up because if she can activate her powers, then she can get out.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like, it's, 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing. Like, if Peter shows up there, Peter will know where she is. She'll be able to save the both of them, and they'll be able to get out.
And she does.
And she does in spectacular fashion. The thing I love about that scene so much is like she doesn't just turn on the lights in the box. She turns on the electricity in that whole wing of wherever they are. And like shorts everything out.
Burns one of the goons to a crisp.
Yeah.
As she's cutting Peter out of the chair that he's zip tied to, you just see like a very crispy Leland sitting in the frame.
Yeah. And I actually have a lot of feelings about that because I kind of call it my or what you'll shoot me moment. Because how to explain?
Wait. We have to give this context. Okay, so there's a person of interest episode where where Harold Finch is taken prisoner? Something?
Hostage, prisoner,
prisoner. And he's like in the middle.
It's so stupid.
It's so dumb. He's like in the middle of nowhere and somebody's trying to force him to
take a bunch of pills to commit suicide,
Yeah,
or like do
down
some
a
sort of
bunch of
drug
pills,
overdose, so it looks like suicide.
inject himself with something. And it's just like he turns to the guy who's holding him at gunpoint, and he literally just says, "Or what? You'll shoot me?"
Because to me, it's just like it is so perfectly encapsulates the how do you think this is going to go for you if you get what you want, or if I like. Either I don't do what you want and you shoot me, and then now I'm dead by your hand, and this didn't work for you. Or in regards to Olivia, where David Robert Jones makes this big point of like, I think you're more powerful than you think. And all I could think was, and how do you think that's going to go for you if she unlocks that power? And we found out.
Yeah, we did.
You messed around and found out.
Listen, yes, and David Robert Jones got away. You know, he doesn't care about his goons. So Leland got burnt to a crisp, you know? All that matters is that he pushed Leland in front of him, so Leland got in the way.
It's only because he had plot armor. It's only because he had plot armor, okay? Don't worry, he's gonna get got.
Again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure David Robert Jones's fate in this show is just to always get got. Always be getting got. And then we had our Peter in distress. And I was joking before we started recording the podcast of like, this is how you know this is Peter's Olivia, because all of a sudden Peter is in distress. She's like, I know exactly what to do. I need to put my boyfriend in danger. And then that will kick in whatever I need.
Put Peter in danger.
Peter in distress.
I mean, it worked. It did work.
Oh, man. Okay, so then that whole thing is happening, right? Lincoln, Peter, and Broyles are interrogating the Nina who raised Olivia. And also, a wild September appears. It is the other plot line in this episode. Like, really, so much happens.
So much happens.
Yeah, we're really running ragged.
Don't worry, y'all. Episode 15 is going to be real short. But yeah, a wild September shows, and he's been shot, and he's not doing well, and you know they try to see what they can do to try and save him. And Peter has the brilliant idea of like, what if you throw me into his brain? And Walter's like, what?
Which Peter knows how to do because of the Belivia situation, right?
Yes.
So this is
Belivia
there's been
all
multiple
over situations where it's been that sort of scenario of like, yeah, this is old hat for our boy.
If you want to get real technical, the show essentially started with this kind of thing where you could actually take two brain waves and join them into one and literally insert someone into a brain.
Yeah, yeah. Except, I guess, maybe, question mark, in this universe, that didn't happen because Peter remembered it. Yeah, see, Peter remembered it happening, but Walter didn't remember it happening. So Peter had to tell Walter, oh, hey, we can do this. So they do. So and all of a sudden, Peter is inside September's mind.
Oh my God. And it's great. It's like an observation deck on the top of like, but it's like in the cosmos.
The beginning of the universe.
And they're watching the Big Bang.
It's a little Doctor Who.
It's very Doctor Who.
It's very Doctor Who. It's like he's in a giant glass TARDIS and he can see all around him. And I'm like, this would give me so much anxiety.
Right. I know. They're seeing time happen all at once around them.
It's a beautiful imagery. And like, I really appreciate what it is. But at the same time, I was like, my motion sickness would not deal well with not having a floor or a ceiling or any walls.
There's just time all around you. Time and space and memories and events.
And events that happened, events that didn't happen, events that happened because Peter existed and because he didn't exist. And it was just
and things that will happen and then were undone or haven't happened yet. Wait.
Yes. Go.
Speaking of Doctor Who, we also get that kind of great moment where Peter asks where the observers are from. And he literally says the better question is, from when?
You're not wrong. It's a very Doctor Who response.
Not from where, from when. Oh, come on. And Nella, here it is, the big reveal.
Oh,
you
finally.
do not owe thousands of dollars.
I know. I'm calling it, ladies, gentlemen.
Everyone.
Like non-binary friends out there, I'm calling it now. There are no more aliens in the swear jar show. The observers are not aliens. They're just future humans.
Yeah, that's the big reveal. They are from the future.
Mm-hmm.
The very distant future. And it's one of those interesting things of like, like, I just imagine it's like, we're just a bunch of scientists, just like hanging out, looking at your timeline.
Right. Exactly. And they developed the technology to see all of time at once. And so they decided, why don't we see all of time at once? And then I guess they made a mistake.
And they made a mistake.
They got attached.
September corrupted a timeline.
Whoopsie.
You did do that.
Whoops.
You did do that. Now, see, this is what I really love about the idea that they, that being time travelers and being from the future and all these other little tidbits. Like, September doesn't seem to be like his cohorts. And we've seen this, just again and again where, like, he disobeys orders or he loses track of something that he really shouldn't lose track of. You would think if you can see all of time and space, you wouldn't, like, drop something.
Well,
Or you would drop it, but then you'd know that you dropped it and then you'd pick it up.
Right, exactly. Like, it's whatever. That gets into some weird paradoxes that I don't have time to unravel. But, like, we notice that September is different. Like, September has a lot more sympathy and empathy. And, you don't get a lot of emotion from, and look, Michael Severus, who plays September, is freaking amazing. And I know I've sung his praises before, but this is fine. We have time. So, but he, even that big reveal moment where, like, he sort of sends Peter on this, like, fetch quest to, like, find a thing, and he gets the thing, and it's one of those cores like we saw in season 1, and it's essentially a transportation device, and it's able to pull September from wherever his buddies stowed him away because he did a bad, and his buddies came to get him, which was also really cool with the slowed down video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that part.
Right? Like, they're moving too fast for the human eye to see them. And it's not that they just, like, bamfed out of nowhere. Like, that's one of the, I think it's like, isn't it Astrid that's like, why would the table fall over? Like, if he just bamfed into nothingness, why would the table fall over? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, it's actually because they were here and they were moving too fast for the human eye.
Yeah, like, two observers, or an observer came over and scooped September up real quick.
Yeah,
Which is what knocked over the table. And also stuck something on Peter's eye. Actually, I loved that.
I love the idea that Walter, like, looked at it and was like, so this would have dissolved and, like, gone into your brain and become a subliminal message. Weird. Interesting, but weird. But, so September sort of sends Peter on this fetch quest. He gets a core, which is like a transportation device. He shows up in Peter's home. And there's this, like, really beautiful, sentimental sort of, like, Michael Severus plays it really well, where, like, of course, September has been soft-spoken this whole time, but he has this very sort of genuine shift in his sympathy. But you can really hear the sympathy in his voice when it's just, you saved me, from where I was. Yeah. And finally answering Peter's question of, like, she is your Olivia is, like, he understands the impact of those words, and you can hear it in his voice that he says it differently than he says a lot of other things. And it's just, like, really subtle shifts that I really appreciate.
Yeah. And I think it is a kind of a beautiful callback to the one observer that was killed because they felt love. And, it doesn't have to be, an attraction, but it's realizing the beauty and importance of someone else, realizing their hopes and dreams. Like, it does feel very Doctor Who. When the doctor says, in all my travels, that's funny. I've never met someone who is unimportant. And Peter is so important. So important.
Peter's so important. But, like, that's what I also love about, like, see now, okay, so now that it's been revealed that they are time travelers, I can tell you my theory of that particular episode. Because my theory is, since September sort of bounces around in the timeline, and it's a different September that we see, not necessarily a linear September.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like we
No,
have
yeah,
a very
yeah,
sympathetic
absolutely.
September right now, and we had a very curious September who like actually broke the timeline, right? But when that observer falls in love, August, right?
Yes.
I think it was August. When August falls in love, he's very like September doesn't understand. September is
Yes.
very, he's still very logical and very, but we're not supposed to do that. These are things you're not, you're not you're not doing the right things.
Right.
And it's really interesting to see him kind of like frog hop through time and be different in these
Yeah.
different episodes. And the subtleties are just so subtle.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is
It
a lot
is.
of fun. And now he is, officially at odds with the other observers, which is interesting because I don't know. I know it gets all timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, as they say. But
As Whovians will tell you.
But September believes that the timeline that is uppercase T true is the timeline where Peter and his Olivia get together,
Yeah.
right? But all of the other observers are under the impression that the real timeline is the timeline where Peter dies as
Yeah.
a child in both universes, right? So now we've
Well,
entered like this little
or no,
battle
no,
of
no.
the observers.
No, because like, but September ruined it. Like, so, but they are resigned to the fact that now it has to be a reality that Peter doesn't live.
Yeah.
Because the right
Timeline
Peter
A.
didn't.
Yeah, timeline A would have been that AU Peter lived because Walternate cured him.
Right.
But timeline A is no longer possible because the observer, because September messed with it and distracted him from his result.
Yeah. But see, the other observers view this as a corrupted timeline,
Yes.
whereas
Yeah.
September doesn't. He doesn't think this is a corrupted timeline. He thinks this is the way that it was always supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm firmly in that trench as well. That this is his thing. I mean, also
So September's sitting there being like, God doesn't make mistakes, and neither does time.
yes.
Which is why it's all wibbly wobbly, right? Because there are different versions of the future, and they certain things have to happen in order for those futures to crystallize.
Exactly.
So Henry happened, but then was erased. But but because they can still see all of that at the same time, in some way, Henry kind of still exists. And Peter gets this little moment with Henry.
Yeah. I mean, and I do think there's something beautiful about, like, this idea of, even if you have the power to erase someone from the timeline, if they were loved, you can't really.
Right.
Like, again, that feels super Doctor Who, right?
Yeah.
Like, you cannot erase, like, love.
A feeling.
Well, we did actually have that in the beginning of this season. Like that's one of the very first episodes is we have that, serial killer in the AU and the alternate serial killer. And then in this, in our reality, he's just a professor of, serial killers. But we have that thing of like the idea cannot be erased, even if you erase the memory of the, And like, bless Peter, he just, he really wanted to get back to his timeline, and he did it. Good job.
He was there all along.
And September really wanted him to get back there. That's why September broke protocol.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't do the thing that was supposed to actually cleanse everything. He was rooting for those crazy kids.
He certainly was. I think he deeply imprinted, as I guess only an observer can, on Walter and Peter and Olivia to some extent, and just and just really wanted to see this through.
Yeah.
And then I guess September just pieces out. I don't even remember where he went at the end of that episode. He just kind of
Goes
No,
on.
he blips. He just
Yeah,
blips
he just
right
blip.
away, along with the cone. The cone disappears, which means the beacon in September disappear too.
Right.
So that's the Peter side of it. And then, of course, we have Olivia all through those 2 episodes, who's just a woman in love. I'm just a girl kneeling in front of a boy, asking him to love me, as they say.
And Lincoln being snide about it.
Look, he's gotta go through his mourning process. You know, he'll.
Look, I feel bad for Lincoln. I'm not going to sit here and be like, Lincoln's kind of getting the raw deal. But at the same time, he's dealing with it not necessarily in the best way, but just,
Honestly, I think he's dealing with it in the best way he can.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think he's dealing with it in the best way he can. And he's getting his job done. He's still working with Olivia. He's not. So I guess we're moving over to
15.
We can jump all around.
15, where it's porcupine men, because this is where Lee keeps getting hurt.
Wait. Oh, sorry. We can do that. That's the last episode.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that if you want. Honestly, the middle episode here is a Monster of the Week episode, and we hate it.
We hate it.
Perfume of men who are in love, and I'm gonna see if I can make these other women love me if I have the DNA pheromones of their man.
Somebody read Perfume, the story of a murderer, and was like, yes.
But this time with science.
And with science, and also he's deformed. He's weirdly deformed. Even though I'm pretty sure in the novel he's not. He's just a guy who has no scent. So that's why he kills people.
It looks like he's covered in burn scars is what it looked like to me. Like maybe he survived some horrific accident. We're not sure, right?
He could have just been a normal dude. He could have just been a normal dude. But no, we had to go full Phantom of the Opera on this one. But with Perfume. I don't know. It's God, I hated it.
I know, it was so creepy.
Look,
so listeners, what he was doing is he was preying on couples in love. Mm-hmm. And then he would kill the guy in the couple, pull all the moisture from the guy's body.
So he could get his pheromones.
Then use that to make a little perfume, rub it on his neck, get the women to fall for him, and then immediately kill them.
Well, because it doesn't take. It doesn't take because eventually the women are like, you're not my husband, though, or my boyfriend, or insert, man, he's supposed to be here. Because eventually whatever it is wears off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And very quickly, too. Just enough to be creepy and awful and gross. And then he kills them, which is also creepy. Anyway, it's
with saran wrap. Ugh. Didn't love it.
And then they do the thing where it's just but he doesn't target people with children.
I know.
If he finds out you have a kid, then he lets you live. And I'm just oh, thanks for the standards, I guess. Or is it just that you're just but what if the kid's there and then I have to kill the kid? I hate this guy. I hate this concept. I hate that the twist is, oh, your husband's cheating, isn't he? Wrong woman! Quick, go to the other house.
Twist, you're in the wrong house. And then, as he gets into the cop car, he gives his little. Not even a monologue. He gives his little explanation for why he did it all, and he's like, "Well, everyone deserves love." And he's basically just trying to make a love potion so everyone can find love. I'm like, what? What?
My eyes glazed over. It's cool motive, still murder.
Exactly.
This,
but
was
as all of this was
Almost
happening,
Human. This was just a page out of Almost Human. We've seen this episode before, and we've seen it done better.
But what's funny is, this crime or all of this murder is really the backdrop for everything we were just talking about, right?
Yes.
The whole Peter's side quest, September showing up, September revealing that this is Peter's Olivia, that happens at the end of this episode. Yeah. So that's why this episode is titled A Short Story About Love. Because there's someone who's trying to make a love potion because everyone deserves love, and Peter is looking for love, and then he finds love, I guess. It's all about love.
I don't know. I feel we need to take this back to the writer's room.
There's one scene I did really like in this episode. Well, in addition to the Peter September scene, which we already discussed, but I also really liked the scene between Nina and Olivia, where
I did
Olivia sits Nina down and basically says goodbye.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, because and just for a real quick character development moment. Olivia was strongly considering like having Walter try to scrub her brain clean because, it's heartbreaking to be in love with someone and have had like lived or started to live a life with them. Yeah. And then, and it's not like they went anywhere. They're just like, I can't keep doing this and it's too weird, and like may or may not move away, and she's dealing with this awful thing of like, I may never be able to, like if the Olivia who I was is slowly fading away and this Olivia is predominant, then I'm not going to be able to function. Because I will have known that my soulmate is no longer here, and basically goes to Walter.
Because Peter's being Peter, right?
I know.
And when Peter freaks out, Peter runs away. So he's like off to New York, and he doesn't even tell anyone.
He has the good point of he points out he rejects her because he doesn't want to make the same mistake again.
Yep.
And I think that's very good on Peter to do so.
No,
And
I totally agree.
It still feels a little weird to me because, like, when it was Belle Olivia, of course we were like, "Oh, this is and creeper-tastic," because it's a completely different person. But if it's Liv transplanting Liv, it feels still weird to me because I don't know. It's like she was still living her own life, and I know it's weird, timey-wimey AU nonsense, but it was weird for Belle, it was weird for Liv, but like. Liv's in the driver's seat for this, and she's the one making the call of like, I want to see where this goes because she straight up says I'm a better person.
Yeah. She
I'm a better
thinks
person.
that Peter's Olivia is a better version of her. And so she's decided to let her yellow amber memories fade and to allow Peter's Olivia to take over, but then realizes, and as she's explaining this to Nina, I feel like you see Nina realize too what that means, which is that by giving in to Peter's Olivia and allowing her relationship with Peter to continue, her relationship with Nina is going to end because all of the love between them and all of the memories that they have together are going to go away.
I mean, she doesn't even remember that they do weekly Saturday brunch.
Weekly brunch. Oh, that was such a sad scene.
That was. And it's like, but what A-star Nina-ness, though, where it's just like, she's pretty much tells her, well, my mom always said, follow your bliss. And you should support your kids for following their bliss.
Even if it takes them far away from you.
Yeah. And like, I do like that Liv is like, right when you're on the precipice of anything traumatic or anything that might really change you, or maybe like something happens and you're afraid of what you'll lose. Like, isn't it so much to hear the people that love you be like, when you ask like, okay, but when this is over, like, please try to build something new with me. And they say, of course.
Yeah.
Like, that's really beautiful. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to lose someone. But then to have a second chance to create new memories. Now I'm having like Lower Deck feels. We're like, like that whole storyline in Lower Decks. So we're like, he's just like, but I don't want to lose any more memories with me and Tendi. And the senior engineer is like, kid, like, if you can't make new memories, then what's the point?
Oh, I really liked that scene. Yeah. And that's it. That's exactly what this is. Nina says, how long do we have? Olivia doesn't know. And then Olivia asks Nina not to give up on her. They tell each other they love each other.
Yeah.
And that's it. Then the thing with Peter in September happens, and we're solidly in episode 16, Porcupine Man. And Yellow Amber Olivia is basically gone, right? Yellow Amber Olivia is gone.
60% of her is gone.
But like, so what they were saying is, no, she's basically gone because that 40% is
the agent.
40% is the amount of information that Olivia has that is correct.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So like
cases she's worked on, like, and stuff.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly what it is. It's like, Well, she doesn't quite remember the cases she's necessarily worked on that are different, right? So, like, she could just learn that information because I assume she still has a photographic memory. But, like, you know, her agent training is not gone.
Right.
You know, and that was the percentage I'm pretty sure that Broyles was talking about, like, I mean, you're an agent. I just don't know if you're my agent. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, this isn't like, you know, when we were dealing with the AU where it's just like that lack of knowledge could lead you to like choke to death because you don't know to put a mask on. It's not like the worlds are that different.
Yes.
Right. It's
but
just
I think
a little
Broyles
jarring.
makes a good point of, okay, yeah, we have therapists and we have psychiatrists, but like this is unprecedented. Like, you don't even know that you have a nephew and that your sister's still married. And like, and I feel like Broyles really does walk the line of, I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm saying is no one knows how to deal with it professionally and what that means for you as an agent. Right. So it's better to skew on safety and caution than just throwing you back out in the field because, well, if you say you're ready, I guess you are. Which, I mean, I appreciate, actually. Thank you. I know she's chomping at the bit. I don't agree with her not being able to at least be a consultant on things that, like, spark a memory for her or that she has recollection of. She should still be allowed to be a consultant on those instead of completely being binged. But I don't know if I would send her out into the field with a gun, honestly. I don't think I would.
Well, I mean, no version of Olivia should be sent into the field with a gun. She's killed so many people with her gun.
You're not wrong.
Like, no version of her should ever have a firearm. It's not okay.
Agreed.
We forgot to mention that she shot David Robert Jones exactly through the center of his neck, and he's just fine, by the way. Speaking of plot armor, he's super powered now, like he was in the other version of him where he Kool-Aid Mans through a wall, and we just never dealt with that. He's back. Here he is.
Like, all I could think of when that happened was like, you know, you should have aimed for the machine. Always aim for the machine that's keeping the window open.
Machine. Then maybe he would have been cut in half again and we'd all be happy.
Maybe.
Well, you know what? I have faith that after seeing that, Liv will know better next time.
I mean, I hope so.
I think next time she's going to aim for the devices instead of for him.
Just aim for the machine. But yeah, okay,
now we're in Porcupine Man.
Yes, now we're in Porcupine Man, and we will get to the rant about Porcupine Man, I promise. But I do want to say one other thing about the fact that, like, she is not really allowed to be a consultant. I'm pretty sure that's just plot device for this episode in particular, because it's like, oh, look, the thing I experienced that you guys didn't experience, and I remember everything about this plot because I have a photographic memory, and it's all right there in arm's reach, you know?
I do love that when Peter goes, oh yeah, he was working with someone. I don't remember the name, but you know who will remember the name.
Yeah, right?
And then, okay, going back to what we said about poor Lincoln, they rope Lincoln into this whole thing and he becomes this unwitting accomplice because Broyles has put him in charge. Peter and Lincoln show up at the house of Bowman's partner, Hicks. And Olivia's just there. She didn't ask anyone's permission. So now Lincoln is stuck because he's in charge and technically he's supposed to ask for backup and he's supposed to tell Broyles. But if he tells Broyles, then Olivia's going to get in trouble and he still kind of loves Olivia. Poor guy. He really did get the short end of the stick.
I know. He totally got the shaft in these last few episodes. I feel bad for Lincoln. You know, I think I do actually want to go back on the, you know, he's not dealing with it well. Honestly, if the worst thing he does is make snide comments, it's fine.
Snide comments, not even to them. Like, I think most of his snide comments are made to Walter because Walter will not stop going on and on about how cute they are together and how he finally has this family. And I'm like, Walter, Lincoln is sitting right there. Can you find a better time?
Look, I think the conversation between Lee and Peter on the way to this guy's place is like as good as it could get for Lee dealing with his own emotion and being like, you know, I had a partner, and, you know, and him having to admit that, like, I had a partner, and, you know, his relationship with his wife was like something you'd never seen before. Like, they were just, you know, like a love, you the perfect love. And you, like, Olivia looks at you like they looked at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a good boy, smart enough to see what it is in front of him, and he's just going to deal with his emotions on his own, and he admits it. It's like, you guys have it. You guys have the thing that I want, and so be it.
Yep, let's just leave it at that.
And, you know,
until Walter throws it in his face later.
I know. You know,
yeah.
Although,
can I just say how much I love that Walter and Lee played chess?
I know. I do too. I do too. It's so precious. And it's obviously something he so needs, you know, like he so looks forward to their game.
Right?
Well, it's not often a perfectly suited chess partner comes along.
I love it. Love it so much. And I think we do get to see that progression in these episodes. Actually, I can't remember if Lee says the thing about... Yes, no, because that was episode 14, where they're looking back at the tapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to... Lee, you know, like, Peter's looking for Olivia and, like, you know, convinced that she's, you know, she's missing and that she's in trouble. And Lee's just sort of like, well, why are we at her apartment? Why aren't we? You know what I mean? And then it was like, I thought you weren't, you know, I thought you were leaving. Stop imprinting your memories on her. She's mine, dang it. You know, like, he has this whole moment. And I was like, oh, man, but, like, he just had to be confronted with the reality of it. Like, I think that's as bad as it gets. Because inevitably, when somebody is like, damn it, Peter's like, okay, I guess I'll just go buy a train ticket.
Right. And, you know, to Lincoln's credit, when he said that was literally the opening scene in episode 14, right?
Yes.
Where Lincoln accuses...
We're in crisis mode.
Yes, like Lincoln accuses Peter of robbing Olivia of her life.
Yeah.
But at that point, Olivia had not decided which way to go yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then once she decided which way to go, Lincoln was like, all right.
A fine, upstanding dude who supports her choices.
But yeah, and he is also the unwilling, like, guinea pig for these porcupine men things. Nella, would you like to rant about the porcupine men?
The porcupine.
The ever-loving hell.
They're back.
So the entire conceit.
Okay, can't wait. So excited.
The entire conceit that is brought back, that I'm like, first off, bless the first Porcupine Man for coming back for his absolutely seminal role as Porcupine Man on Airplane going berserk. Well done, sir. I'm so glad they could bring you back for that. I hope you got such residuals for it.
Also, can I comment that I don't know if they reshot that whole sequence or if they just used alternate takes. Because,
I know, right?
Because they were slightly different than the episode we watched. And I'm just like, did you bring everyone back? Or did you just... what did you do?
They must have just used different takes or different... I don't know.
We'll
never know.
Anyway, I can't believe that the conceit is that David Robert Jones was working at Massive Dynamic on creating a more evolved human, and somehow that involves being a monstrous porcupine flying machine. And I have so many questions about what we're doing here. Now, on one hand, I'm like, is this just where this is like a rapid onset evolution? Because, right, like we sort of run through the process of we inject these guys and like they go crazy and they die if they don't have enough fat. And there's also like this amount of like drug that they need to take in order to just slow it down enough that they can survive the initial evolution. And it seems like it's ongoing evolution. Like, first they start as porcupine men, and then they get wings, and then they eat more fat and more drugs, and, like, who knows where we go from there? Maybe they start breathing fire. Who can say? Here's my thing. who in God's name would sign up for this? And all I could think, and here's the thing. I feel like this is like Monster Jar who sign up for this.
Is there another way you can say? No, wait. Is there another way you can say that I won't have to bleep because I want to make sure?
No, it's just Monster Jar. Monsters, F word, F'ers. No. It's fine, that, but they're Monster Jar. There. The swear jar is going up every time I say it, but this is exactly what they are. Because like I'm like, furries? No, this isn't furries. Furries are not this. These are Monster Jar. They want to be monsters and they want to jar.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And they sign up for this. And here's the thing. Evolution is a tricky bird. Our knees are shit. Our backs are terror. But it's what gets us to the finish line of our descendants, of our kids having babies. That's how evolution works. It doesn't matter how long you live. All that matters is, do your babies survive? Great. Keep that thing going down the line.
Yeah, keep the factory working. Mm-hmm.
So, porcupines. Why porcupines? I love a porcupine. They are prickly little boys, and they got these snouts that are just precious. But why porcupines? Why porcupines? They're not Did you ever see a porcupine run? Have you ever seen a porcupine run?
No.
Okay, it's precious. It's imagine the greatest waddle ever with all these quills flipping side to side, and you're just what? I want to pet you, but you're a danger animal. I can't pet you, but I want to. You're precious.
Well, okay, wait. But they're calling them porcupine monsters because they're just kind of a mass of prickles, but also they have wings, and also they stand on 2 feet, and also they have these giant teeth.
Why do you need prickles? Why do you need them? Why do you need the porcupine quills? Why do you need that kind of protection? We're humans. We're naked jar. And somehow we've managed to end up apex jar predators without that jar. I'm so angry about don't you want quills? No, actually I don't. I don't want that.
Okay.
Don't you want wings? Do you understand what you need to have wings? You need bird bones.
Yeah,
and
you
know what
hollow
happens
bones,
to bird bones? They break. Those mother jars break. You look at them weird and they break, and then you're well, I guess we're putting down eagle. No. That's bad. Mm-hmm. It's if you make a centaur person, and do you know how bad it is to be a horse? Could you imagine being a horse with a man body, and then your knee breaks and it's well, I guess we're putting down centaur man. It's not great.
Now, what
putting
about
down
a
centaur man should be the name of the
I'm sorry, what about a what? Well,
what about a moltar?
Well, only if it's Comfortable Doug.
Comfortable Doug or nothing.
The true hero of the story. But it's just why porcupines and bat wings?
Porcupines and bat wings.
Made you go, yes.
Here's the thing. There is clearly, though, a larger plot at work, because they found some fanatics and some people who want to be physically intimate with monsters to join in this little plot of theirs. But
and then there's the weird zoo at the end.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. There's a larger plot happening, and the show just hasn't told us what it is
It's
yet.
a Noah's Ark of whatever.
A Noah's Ark of creatures. And, as the person is walking amongst the cages, you can see that one cage has this giant rattlesnake, coming out of it.
Yeah, it's got the chimera thing, and you're just where's Charlie? Where's Charlie when you need him?
Where's Charlie? And then you see that worm thing from season 1 also. So, someone's gathering a little mishmash of creatures here for some reason.
So, and I'm just but why?
We don't know.
Also, maybe. Stolen human fat? Gross.
Okay,
Gross.
So you know what was so funny about the stolen human fat? I love that Walter literally goes, okay, but wouldn't it be easier to just eat people than to steal human fat?
I know what you're thinking.
I know what you're thinking. Wouldn't it be easier to eat people? Actually, no, because they need so much fat. So in my notes, I go, oh, look, the one time they didn't choose murder. And then it turns out that every time they steal medical waste, they kill the guards who are on duty. So actually, they did choose murder.
They choose murder every time.
Much murder.
It was such a
you know what? I prefer the. I'm like, you were almost there. You were almost there. This whole time I've been screaming about find you a medical examiner who can give you access to dead bodies so you can drink the spinal fluid.
Stealing medical waste is
find you a medical examiner
than
who can give you access to the pituitary gland. And yet. The one time
they were so close.
They follow my direction. They still don't stick the landing. They still kill the guards. And I'm like, no, you do not get an A for effort. You don't get it. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.
I also love that it's like, and now we have to find a liposuction place with a rooftop because they can fly.
Yes.
I was like, well, what makes you think he was going to use his wings this time? What if you was just between the wings?
Look, between the wings and the porcupine quills, you're not fitting any of that under a trench coat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
I can't believe I'm still mad about these porcupine quills.
You're still mad about the quills.
Infuriating. Infuriating. Why porcupines?
And
why not dolphins? So you can swim or something. Porcupines? Porcupines.
Because you'd have to make a tank for them to live in.
Not even I don't know, something like a lobster. You know how long lobsters live? Maybe get some lobster DNA up in there. And then you have giant
a mantis shrimp.
Yes, there we go. Now you're thinking about evolution. Now, come on, what are the gnarliest animals that either live the longest, are the, you know what? Fuck porcupines. Honey badgers. Why was it in a honey badger?
Tardigrade.
Yeah, Joy's got it. There it is. There it is.
Tardigrade.
That's what. Giant tardigrade. Giant human tardigrade with wings.
And proboscis that can go for miles.
So many better options than porcupine. But they had to do that season 1 callback. That's why they did that, right?
And that's why they did that. Well, but they also, they needed a thing that, Peter's Olivia would know, that Peter would know. They, even though it's slightly different here, obviously there wasn't a Noah's Ark in the last one. The other guys were dosed in the last one.
Yes.
It wasn't intentional. This was intentional. I'm also enjoying the idea that I love a nerd who's just like, I'm going to become a monster and get all the ladies. Poindexter looking dude. Just being like, make me some wings and some porcupine spikes, and that's gonna be it.
Hey, I heard you, ladies love porcupine spikes.
And wings.
And 16 nipples. 15? I think it was 15.
Are you asking me how many nipples a porcupine has?
No. In the first episode, they're doing the autopsy, and Walter's just like, he has 15 nipples.
I think we fundamentally misunderstood the monster to monster pipeline in this world.
Look, Fringe is answering these questions, and I don't know why this makes you mad, because I personally feel like these are the strong issues that we need to be fighting in our day-to-day.
These are the big questions.
And on that note, I think we should talk about one more thing, because we are just about out of time. I can't believe we didn't talk about Markham.
Markham! Okay, that's a good one more thing for you.
Yeah,
I loved seeing Markham. And it was just like, Peter was like, he doesn't know who I am. And then he was like, oh, but I know what button to push, though.
Yeah. Brilliant. And him and Olivia walking into Markham's place and just playing the well-meaning con to get information quickly out of him. Knowing exactly what buttons to push, exactly the questions to ask, even right down to her being like, I'm taken, and he'd be like, can't blame me for trying. And their dynamic was so good.
We can't ask him for that. It's too rare. He'll never be able to find it.
And then Markham doing the slow turn of yes.
No, beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, Markham. Nella, do you want to go next for one more thing, or shall
I
I?
feel like I've got two.
So do I. Oh, no. Okay, you go first.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, one is the idea of Walter and William Bell creating a palindrome filing system while high.
Palindrome filing system.
And it actually being implemented until his death, to which then Nina says, and we switched it to a more user-friendly system when William died.
Trying to be
love
nice
when she
Oh,
about it.
said that. A more user-friendly system.
Like, Nina, I'm so glad that you, like, look, you know what? Like, I'm always here for, like, and I will always love you kind of, like, thing.
She's
But
so many secrets, and she's so suspicious, but she is so sensible.
I know. And it's just like, and yet, like, this is the one thing that I think we could let lie with William Bell's legacy upon his death. Now let's move on to something that actually works for one. Thank you, God.
Yeah, exactly.
And my second thing is, back to the first episode where Nina is being interrogated by Broyles. Can I just say, and now I'm a little upset that it took us so long to get there, but I understand it. She's stooping Broyles. Like, I'm assuming she's stooping Broyles. I'm assuming that their faces have touched at least once in this alternate universe. Like, and that's my assumption to make. And maybe it isn't true, but obviously they have a history. Bless.
Mm-hmm.
Still, good Nina, you don't speak without first meeting with your lawyer. Remember, and this is to everyone listening to this podcast, if the police bring you in for interrogation, I would prefer a lawyer. I want to speak to my lawyer now. Don't even, you know what? Don't even any wishy-washy language of like, I guess I should get a lawyer. No, I need to speak to my lawyer now. I need to call my lawyer now.
Doesn't matter if you're innocent, guilty, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Attorney.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. It's really good life advice.
Will answer no further questions until I have spoken to my lawyer. No matter how innocent you are, say it, repeat it in your sleep. Always, every time. Remember the scene from Spider-Man No Way Home. Don't say anything until we talk to your lawyer. Listen to Aunt May and Mary Jane.
Do it.
Yes.
Mary Jane Watson.
Okay, I have two things.
Yes.
One more things. My first one more thing is when Walter walks into the lab and says, "Happy birthday!"
Yes.
And it is revealed, it is revealed, poor Walter, that every year since Peter died, Walter has still bought him a birthday present, and he saved them all, and he wrapped them all, and he put them in a box. And they include things like a bottle of beer with a little ribbon on it for Peter's 21st birthday. They include an adult magazine for when Peter turns 16.
Oh my God,
just,
I'm dying.
And then that little magnet gravity toy.
Centrifugal force and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. That he had for Peter when he was like, well, this is what I was going to teach him about I can't even say that word. About magnets. And then, and when Peter literally, he goes, "Oh, I love these things," as he walks into the room. And for the entire following scene, as everyone is like, we have all of these questions. How is Robert Jones involved? Peter's just playing with the toy.
Yes.
And when Broyles comes in, he hides it behind his back.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
such a good scene. He's like, these Bishop boys are killing me every time.
Presents for every year.
Although I also just
love.
love that Walter Walter opens every present.
I know.
Yes.
Peter opens none of them. Walter's the one opening them all.
Oh, I remember this year. And
Yes.
that's the C plot for that episode. It's Walter opening Peter's presents. Okay.
Which is a great C plot. Love
It's a great
it.
C plot.
10
It's
10
fantastic.
recommend.
Okay, and the very last thing is that there was another season 1 callback between Broyles and Olivia, which again is how we really know this is Peter's Olivia. Because Olivia knows that she's messed up. Broyles pulls her aside and says, "We need to talk." And Olivia does the thing where she starts apologizing right away. She says, "I know I did something wrong. I'm never going to do it again. I promise that I'm going to do this and this and this." And finally, after all that, Broyles just goes, "Are you done?"
Yes. Yeah.
He's already called the 10th floor. He's already worked it out. If you are 60% of the Olivia I knew, you're still better than 90% of the agents I've ever worked with. And a Fringe division with Olivia Dunham is better than a Fringe division without her.
Yeah.
And I want Broyles.
I know.
Broyles.
Broyles is on board.
Are you done?
Yeah. So good. Classic. Although she did deserve to sweat a little bit, though.
She did.
Let's be honest.
You have to,
And so we let her sweat a little bit.
you have to relive the days of, you gotta learn to stop digging when you've struck oil.
Exactly. It was beautiful. I was so happy we got another one of those moments.
It is beautiful.
Agreed.
All lovely one more things. I loved all of those.
The callbacks we wanted, not human shapeshifters, not porcupine men.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Markham.
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 And office politics between Olivia and Broyles.
Agreed.
Politics. Okay, and with that, listeners, we would love to hear from you. Please check us out at Binge O'Clock Pod on Twitter and Facebook, where you can answer the question, what is your favorite palindrome? You can also email us at bingeoclockpod@gmail.com. And don't forget, we have a Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/BachPod.
That's right. And tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell the live lobsters in your life about Binge O'Clock, and we will see you next time.
Mine is definitely, and I know it's a very basic swear jar one, but it's definitely a man, a planet, canal, Panama.
I mean, please. I don't know that I would call that super basic. I mean, it's when you said that that's your favorite palindrome, there's not a single part of me that was surprised. But you're also not going to be surprised to find out that my favorite palindrome is Taco Cat.
No, that's 100% track. I think I'd be
I like
disappointed
food.
if it were
I like
something
cats.
else.
Taco Cat.
Taco Cat.
Taco Cat.
There was
Joy, do
a
you have one?
profile, there was a Facebook profile picture I had for a long time where I took a Taco Cat and I changed it to to have my face where the Taco Cat was. And it was the best like 2 months or whatever of my life having that as my Facebook profile. It was great.
Excellent.